Okay, we have a fresh new scene here. First thing we're going to do is check the project directory. So click on this project directory button, and I have a folder called rigging we're going to go into. So double click on that. See, I've placed an objects and scenes folder in here. Now that we're inside here, just click open and your project directory is set. So we'll load an object from that objects folder. Go to file, load, double click the objects folder, and we're going to load one called halfbody.lwo. Keep things in halves and we won't have to concentrate too hard here. So see, I have a nice half of a body here of a generic man. Legs are spread slightly apart, feet flat on the ground, arms out straight, palms facing forward. Fairly stable setup pose here. So let's hide that camera. We'll right click on the camera to red lock it, make it unselectable, change its draw mode to N so it goes away. We're going to red lock the half body. We won't need to move that around, but change its draw mode to F. Let's click into setup, switch to a left view here, zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to add the first control here. There's an add block and a pull down menu. Make sure it's set to null. And type in the first control, which is man underscore hips. Man is the name of our character here, and hips is the control. If you keep that naming convention, you can have more than two characters in the scene and you won't be confused trying to sort them out. So click on the plus button next to that. You'll see hips will have been added to the center of the world here. Click on Y, we'll move it up. I'm going to zoom in with the wheel mouse, and if you tap A on the keyboard, we'll center your selection. Let's move this forward and up, and it's about level with the belly button and right in the middle of the body. Let's add another null to this one. We'll go back up here to the field. We're going to type in back X form. Click on the plus button next to that, add that to the scene, drag that on top of hips, and then pitch this one up 90 degrees. When we add bones to this and parent them to this back X form, all the bones will also be aiming up 90 degrees. We won't need to touch this one anymore, so red lock it, change its draw mode to N, and highlight the body. Let's click over here into this Effects sub-tab, and there's another pull-down menu here with all of the effects we can add to this mesh. We can have a lot of fun with them. We're going to highlight Bone Deform, and while the body here is selected, click on the plus button. You'll see here in this list to the side that we've added a Bone Deform effect. The tools it's going to use is a skeleton, which means the bones, and this is the mesh it's going to be distorting for us. So let's click back into the Items sub-tab here. We're going to drag the skeleton out up top and open up the rename block, and let's name that one to man. Anything you name the skeleton, the bones will also be named. So let's name Bone Deform 2 while we're at it to man. A new block pops up every time you add a new effect with all of the different options you can do on that block. See, if I drag up here, you'll see we have a skeleton block with several buttons and check marks. There's an add bone button here that will let you add bones manually, but we're going to use the shortcut key, which is the plus key on the keypad. Let's drag that back down, and while this is selected, tap the plus key on the keypad and you'll see bone 1 has been added. Since we named it man, it shows up at the beginning here. So drag that on top of back X form. Immediately it's aiming straight up and down. So let's zoom out and click on the top handle here, and we're going to adjust the length downward. So use the A key on the keyboard to center our selection. Let's pitch this one back slightly, and this first bone will be called back 1. I'll tap the plus key again on the keypad to add another bone. We'll tip this one back even further. We'll aim it right at the round of the shoulder here and drag the length up so it's right in the middle of the shoulder. We're going to name this one back 2. Add another bone by tapping on the plus key on the keypad. Pitch this one forward and adjust the length so it reaches the base of the skull. Name this one neck. And then add the last bone to this chain and pitch it so it aims straight up and down. We're going to call this one head. Now at any point, if you want to see how these bones distort the mesh, all you have to do is click into the Animate tab here and just grab one of the bones and pitch it forward and back. You'll see that the head is distorting kind of strange. We want to make sure that the jaw and back of the head are solid, so we're going to add what are called support bones. So let's reset the keyframe down here to its default position. Let's click back into Setup, and we're going to use the plus key and add a bone to the top of the head here. And there's an option in the bone block down here called Align Z to Parent Length. So uncheck that. That way we can move this down along Z. Align Z means this stays right at the tip of its parent. So we'll move this down to the base here, pitch it forward so that the bone is right on top of the jaw area here. We're going to name this one Jaw Support. We're going to do that once more. Middle mouse click to select the head. Tap the plus key to add another bone. We're going to uncheck Align Z to Parent. I'm going to move this down along its Z and pitch this one backwards. We're going to name this one Skull Support. So if we click back into Animate here, middle mouse click to select the head and pitch it forward and back, you'll see that the back of the head is frozen up nicely and the front of the head is all static. So it looks more solid now. So click back into Setup here, and since we won't need to see these two bones anymore, just red lock those with the right mouse click and change their draw modes to N. Let's go down here to the back. Let's middle mouse click to select the back. We'll add a bone to that with the plus key on the keypad. We'll drag this one on top of back X form. See it change to back X form's orientation. Let's go back here into the bone block. We'll uncheck Align Z to Parent. Then up here in the rest block, you'll see that it moved on Z. We'll just put 0 back in there so it moves to the origin of back X form. We're going to pitch this one forward 180 degrees or so and move it down so it's about in the center of the rear end part. We're going to name this one Butt. Save your work. Let's go into File. We're going to go to the File button here. We're going to save this Messiah scene. We're going to go out of the Objects folder into the Scenes folder, and we're going to save this one as body a.fxs. Click on Save.